Hi, I'm Ryan Giggs, and you're listening to Highbury and Heels.
Hello and welcome to Highbury and Heels. I'm your host Sophia, and today I'm joined by the usual rabble, Sophie, Amanda and Seema. Hey girls, so how are you feeling after a mixed week in the wonderful world of Arsenal?
Can we move on quickly? 33 shots, 14 on target, and we should have beaten Man United. Enough said.
I mean, I'm feeling bittersweet. I'm proud of how we responded after the second goal, but it's a shame the result didn't reflect that.
I was starting to get over it all, and then Sophia told me who today's guest was, and then, I was like, is it too early to drink here in LA? Think not.
As Sophie alluded to, our special guest today is going to have lots to say about the Man U game because he joined Manchester United as a 14-year-old in 1987 and made his professional debut for the team in 91. A one-club man, he spent his entire 23-year career with United and holds the record for the most competitive appearances. This annoyingly great left winger is the most decorated player in English football history, having won, and breathe, 13 Premier League titles, 4 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, 2 Champions League medals, a Club World Cup medal, the UEFA Super Cup, the Intercontinental Cup, and 9 community/charity shields, all during his time at Man U. And last but by no means least, he was given an OBE in 2007 for services to football and named BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 2009. Choosing to join us in the Highbury and Heels dugout, please welcome Manchester United legend and Arsenal FA Cup tormentor, Ryan Giggs.
What an
intro.
underachiever.
What a build-up.
No pressure.
Hey Ryan, how you doing? Thanks so much for coming on. Say hi to the girls, will you?
Hi, girls. You okay?
Hiya, Ryan.
Hi.
I'm dealing with it. I'm all right. I'm fine.
It's gone now. It's gone. Forget about the past.
Oh, we'll be talking about the past, don't you worry. Sadly for us, but anyway. So let's kick off by talking about our match against your old club this weekend.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the result as Gooners were hoping for, although many pundits are calling it the game of the season so far. What's your take on it? And be honest, do you think we deserve to lose?
No, I agree with everyone who's saying it's the game of the season because for a Man United fan, obviously the result was great, but also the way that we played. And it was a bit like going back to the old days where, I mean, I've been plenty of times more at the Emirates rather than Highbury, but we come up against an Arsenal team who dominated possession, but we beat them by our counter-attacking football. And when you come up against Arsenal, you know that the majority of the time they can out-football you because of the players that they've got and the ability that they've got. But as long as you defend right, you know that you're going to get chances on the counter-attack. And that's how the game panned out. And yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Arsenal will feel aggrieved not coming away with at least a draw because of the way that they played and the chances that they created. But also credit to United. David De Gea was outstanding. And 3 really good goals.
Brian, you bring up a really good point, and I want to kind of tackle it more from the Manchester United point of view in that you didn't dominate possession. You weren't the better team on the day. But somehow, I don't know if it's the United way or the Mourinho way, you always find a way to win. Considering the amount of chances that we created, are you worried about United facing the Barcelonas, the PSGs, the Manchester Cities of the football world, teams that would probably carve you open a little bit more than we did, but actually convert their chances?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little bit worrying, and we'll see a lot more because I would imagine the game, even though we're at home next Sunday against City, it'll be a similar game where we'll be up against it and basically counter-attacking against a team that's probably going to dominate possession again. But going back to the game on Saturday, I felt that both teams were true to the way that they play. I mean, Arsenal just continuing to play football, not lumping it forward. continue to believe in the way that they were playing was the best way. And also, like I said, that's not uncommon for a United team to be up against it and then hit them on the counter-attack. You know, Wayne Rooney, Nani, Cristiano, Ronaldo. them sort of games. There was a period where, you know, Arsenal out-footballed us, but we knew that if we could defend, get bodies in midfield, that we would get chances. And it was about converting them chances. But, yeah, I think once you come up against better teams, you have to keep the ball better. You have to try and get possession a little bit better than we did do, because, like you say, if you're coming up against teams of that quality, you can only get away with it so many times. You won't get away with it all the time. You know, David De Gea ain't going to have games like that every week. So you have to find a way to keep the ball better.
So you just talked about David De Gea. I always feel like when goalkeepers come to the Emirates, they're always playing inspired football. Do you think that was the case this time, or do you think we didn't make the most of our chances and made it easier for him?
It was a bit of both. I mean, that isn't uncommon for David to put performances like that. I think it was just the number of chances and the number of saves that he had to make, which was different, that you wouldn't normally get in a game. But he's quite easily the best goalkeeper in the world for me, because of what you've seen at the weekend. He hasn't got any weaknesses, and he pulls out remarkable saves all the time. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal fans will say, we say it when we're at Old Trafford, you know, that keepers seem to up their game when they come to Old Trafford. It's just that, you know, you're going to dominate the games, and the goalkeeper can sometimes be inspired, the opposition goalkeeper. But no, he is just a brilliant goalkeeper. But we had a little bit of luck as well, I think. You know, with the penalty shout, it was a penalty. With a couple of the chances that should, you know, Sanchez 9 times out of 10 will finish that rebound. So we had a little bit of luck, but, you know, all good teams do have that bit of luck when they need it.
Okay, so going back to your old days then, who in your opinion is the better keeper, Schmeichel or De Gea?
No, Schmeichel still the best goalkeeper that I've played with, but David isn't, you know, too far off him. You know, Peter had everything. You know, he could catch the ball and start off counter attacks, which was so dangerous. You know, as soon as it looked like Peter was going to catch a cross, I was running, knowing that he could find me. Andrei Kanchelskis was off running. Lee Sharp was off running. David hasn't really got that, in his makeup. But what David has got is just, it puts forwards under pressure when you know you're coming up against a goalkeeper like David De Gea, because it sort of makes you think, this shot has got to be perfect to beat this goalkeeper. But no, Peter only, just at the moment, still the better goalkeeper.
So, taking it back to, you were saying that we were pressing really hard and we were attacking very hard. When Matic collided with Koscielny and sustained a so-called head injury, do you think that was a tactic to take the sting out of the game, especially as we were pressing really hard for the equalizer?
Oh, every experienced player, if you're up against it, you'll try and stop the flow as much as you can in any way that you can, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, whether it be a little bit of time wasting, you know, you see it more and more often. You've seen it yesterday with Man City. The winger actually swapping wings, knowing that he's going to get substituted, because it takes that little bit more time and sting out the game. That's not nothing new. That's something that most teams will do. And when you are up against it, you try and stop the flow as much as you can.
Ryan, it's really interesting because Pogba, who has been missing through some injury and now going to miss the biggest game of the year, you've seen the influence that he has on this Manchester United team. But it's really, I think, kind of not cool to see a young player who has such influence over young people as well. behave the way he did, clapping sarcastically. I couldn't imagine a young you or a Beckham or a Neville doing that. And I think in today's game, some players think they might be a bit above the game. And social media makes them feel like they're giants in some way. What's your view on Pogba and the young players in general today?
Well, I think you can get caught up in the moment and do things that you regret, especially with the big games. You're hyped up. The game is on a knife edge. And everyone's done it, every player done it, it doesn't matter who you are. You do things that maybe you wouldn't do in the normal light of day, but no, what he did was wrong, clapping, because it was a sending off. When you raise your studs now in today's game, you risk getting sent off, it's as simple as that. So it was a sending off. At the time, you might have thought it was harsh. I don't know, but it was a sending off. And then when you do that, when you do clap, it's not good, and it's not a good example for the kids because they do idolise these players. And now with the sort of intensity of the scrutiny that players are under, no one misses a trick. The TV doesn't miss anything. Mm-hmm. So it is going to be seen by millions and millions. So I'm sure Paul's actually a really nice lad, and I'm sure he regrets doing what he did. But no, he shouldn't have done it. And now he risks even more, missing more games. Mm-hmm. So it was disappointing for him to see him do that.
Well, speaking of, players and the game today, looking at the two teams, I think Arsenal and Man U seem to be in very different places compared to when you played. What do you think of the criticism that Wenger gets for our lack of league success and the criticism that Mourinho gets on his style of play? Do you think either is warranted?
Well, I think when Arsene took over Arsenal, he already had, arguably the best defensive five that there's ever been in the Premier League, and just proper defenders. And what he added to that was, the likes of Bergkamp. Well, he had Bergkamp already, I think, but he added, Anelka, Vieira, Petit, Overmars, just brilliant players in front of them. But I don't think they've quite replaced, them defenders. So he's carried on with the attacking play. You can watch Arsenal outplay anyone in the world on their day. There's no doubt in that. But it was another example at the weekend of just ridiculous defending. I mean, just basic errors. Mm. So you don't have to do a lot to score a goal. Mm. So yeah, I mean, he likes attacking play. He likes to dominate possession, but also, when you win leagues, you have to have the best goalkeeper, more or less. You have to have a top goalkeeper, and you have to have a defence who can, because you're not going to play brilliant every game. You're going to have a defence who are sometimes going to be up against it and need to save you, with a little 0-0 even, or a 1-0. And Arsenal haven't had that for a long time. I think when it comes to Jose getting criticised, as a United fan, I mean, I watched a lot of the games last year and a lot of the draws that we had at home, and no doubt we should have won the majority of the games, and they were pretty attacking games, where, like Tom Heaton against Burnley is making even more saves than David did at the weekend. And going on to this season, we've scored a lot of goals, but I think the criticism comes with the performance and the attitude at Anfield, really, where I felt there was a Liverpool. Listen, going to Anfield at any time is always difficult for a United team, but it was really negative, where it looked like we didn't go out to win the game. Now, I've gone to Anfield, gone out to win the game, you can get beat. That's fair enough. But we always went out to win the game. Mm-hmm. And then when you put on a performance like that, you're then open to criticism. And then you get beat off Huddersfield. And when you lose 1, 2, 3 games for United, it is big news. It is, you're under the microscope. But saying that, you look at then Watford, the way that we played against Watford, the goals that we scored at the weekend. You've got to say that there is attacking threat there, but, you know, we want to see it more often.
Ryan, my Liverpool mates just said exactly what you said about how they went to Anfield and set up. They weren't impressed at all. But, you know, you do go to places sometimes not to lose, don't you? But just speaking of Mourinho, I want to go back a bit because I'm a little bit older than the girls and I remember the rivalry between Ferguson and Wenger. For me, it always seemed to be really, really professional, not personal. Whereas Mourinho seems absolutely obsessed with our manager, regardless of what club Mourinho's at. And it just seems more personal than professional, in my opinion. Do you agree with that?
I honestly don't know. I mean, obviously there was that rivalry that goes back from the Chelsea days. I know that Jose's got a really good record against Arsene Wenger. So,
unfortunately.
yeah, I don't see why it does need to be personal if it is personal. Because if you've got a record like that, you just keep your mouth shut really and just get on with it and just gloat in the fact that you've got a better record, and you wouldn't have to say a lot. So if he has got something personal against Wenger, I don't know why. But that goes from, I don't know if something happened in the Chelsea-Arsenal days. I honestly don't know.
When Ferguson and Wenger were going at each other, well, Ferguson was mainly going at Wenger, wasn't he? I always felt that was because we were in contention with you lot. Yeah. When we became less in contention, he started to praise Arsene Wenger. You know, as much as I despise Alex Ferguson, you have to respect him to the hill, and I absolutely do. He's a very, very, very clever man, where I don't think Mourinho is, I'm afraid. Sorry, Soph, go on.
Well, I love how you just had to get that little bit in there. I did. By the way, I love it. I mean, yeah, we all respect Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, he's the greatest ever. So, but let's talk a little bit more about the one thing, Ryan, especially with your decorated career and all the things that you've won. As an Arsenal fan, you look at Arsene Wenger, and I think we all really super respect what he's done for the club. And we've all gotten to a point where we don't want to dislike him because we do respect him, but we also feel the club needs a transition. How does he take a team to an unbeaten season, which we all know is almost impossible in the Premier League? He wins trophies. He challenges the great Manchester United, the greatest side probably we've ever seen, dominates English football for those 9 years. And then we go barren for so long. How do you explain that?
From the outside, it just looks just that little bit stubborn in that I don't care what anyone else says. I'm going to carry on the way that I've always played. I'm going to out-football every team that we play against. And we've never really addressed the defensive side of from the Arsenal teams that I first played against. You didn't get many chances, and you had to work really hard to score a goal. Now it's as if you don't have to work that hard to score a goal. You've still got to defend because they've got fantastic forward players, and the concentration has always got to be high when Arsenal have got the ball because they can hurt you at any time. But it just seems that the goals that Arsenal let in are soft goals where that never ever used to happen. And whether that be the defence, actually the whole team really, do they want to defend? Have you got enough players who want to defend? And I mean, in any business, recruitment is key, and it just doesn't feel like the recruitment in the defensive area has been good enough.
So where do you see United finishing the season? Do you think there's any hope of them catching City? And where do you think Arsenal will finish after that?
I think United can catch them. I think United can catch City because, I mean, City, let's be honest, City have been absolutely brilliant this season, the way that they've played, the performances that they've put on. But you can't do that for a whole season. You just can't. The scary thing for United fans is they haven't put on them performances in the last 3 games, but they've still come away with 9 points. And scoring late goals is huge. it's not about your ability on the pitch. That's about team spirit. That's about believing in the way that you play and just carrying on till the end. And eventually, the opposition, the legs will go. Someone will lose concentration. Someone will make mistakes because of the work that you've done early on in the game. And that's the scary thing I think for United fans. But you've seen how easily it can turn, with these performances the last 3 games where it has been really close. But I think for United to catch them, they've got to win. They've got to win at the weekend. Otherwise, 8 points going into Christmas. Mm-hmm. If they draw, that is.
Yeah.
If City win, then that becomes even tougher. So it's a big ask because obviously City are a quality team and they've got a lot of quality, but there's still a long way to go. And I've been in teams where you've hunted teams down when
I remember us doing that.
9-10 points, and also being chased and teams hunting us down, and anything can happen with 2/3 of the season to go.
Ryan, a lot of people are talking about Mesut Ozil, who we all love, Sophia and Amanda's, favourite Arsenal player currently. And he really is, when he's on form, he's just dreamy. And, you were talking about catching Manchester City, obviously not winning this weekend. Do you think if there's a transfer in January, a la Ozil, I don't think he'll go in January. I actually think he's going to stay at Arsenal. But do you think if you do get someone like him or him, does that change things for United?
No, I don't think it does. I think we've got enough players in that position, and I think that might just complicate it a little bit. We've got, Jesse Lingard's playing probably in his position at the moment, who's been fantastic the last few games. You've got Juan Mata, you've got Mkhitaryan. I think we've got enough players like that, even though they're not playing at the moment. I think it'll just complicate it even more by bringing someone like Ozil in. So I don't think it would. I think the team are okay at the moment, and I can't see any player coming in and dramatically improving them halfway through the season where that's going to help them catch City.
Remember, you're listening to Highbury Heels in the company of me, Amanda, Seema and Sophie, plus our very special guest, Ryan Giggs. If you have any questions or comments, do tweet us at Highbury Heels, at Sophia, at Goonagirl1969, at Seema E. Lamine, or at Soccer Diva. So, Ryan, we couldn't have you on without talking about your incredible career. You were initially at Manchester City as a youth, but did you always see that as a stopgap to Man United? How different do you think your career would have been if you'd stayed at City?
The enemy.
It would have been a little bit different. Yeah, no, what it was, when I was 11, 12, I was playing at a Sunday League team, and our manager was actually a Manchester City scout. So it was him who took us down to City, me and two or three of my teammates. And that's why I ended up at City. I was always a United fan. But I enjoyed it. I mean, it was 11 and 12. You're training at Manchester City's training ground. Obviously, the facilities are great. You're playing with the best players in the area. But ultimately, I was always a United fan. And at 13, when United asked me to come down and train with them, obviously I was delighted.
Ryan, do you remember making your senior Man U debut, or is it faded, or is it crystal clear? I want to know what it was like, because obviously you've moved from City to United, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the game, if I'm honest, my full debut against City. The thing that really stands out, as if it was yesterday, was Sir Alex naming the team, and I didn't know I was playing. So an hour and a half before kickoff, he's naming the team. And he starts off with a goalkeeper, right back, the back four. And, of course, the left wing was last for him to say. And I remember it as if it was yesterday, he says, Ryan, you'll play on the left. And where I wouldn't say I was daydreaming a little bit. I wasn't really paying as much attention as I should have. And then all of a sudden, I just looked around. Did he say my name then? I'm like, wait,
oh, that's so sweet.
That is lovely, isn't it?
The only feeling I can compare it to is I never used to be a great flyer. So when we were on the runway and when we're ready to take off, I sort of start getting sweaty palms and I start getting nervous. That's the same. When he said, Ryan, you'll play on the left, that's exactly what happened. I started getting sweaty palms. And
I'm
Awesome.
glad that even famous good footballers get nervous before having to play. That's amazing.
Yeah. Burkamp, Giggs.
Not as bad as Bergkamp. He wouldn't even fly.
So, being a member of the class of '92, did you ever think you'd be part of the best generation of footballers in England, and arguably the best in United history?
No, I think as footballers, you never think too far ahead. And obviously, I was in the team before the other lads come in, but I'd played with them in the youth team. I'd known them since I was 13, 14, so I knew what they were capable of. But it was weird because Nicky was the first player to go into the team. He was like 18, I think, maybe 17. And then everyone come in at different stages. And I think David was the last. David was like 19, 20. He went on loan to Preston. And then he was the last in the team. So it wasn't as if everyone was in the team at the same time. Mm. But I think it was 95, 96 when we won the league with all of us in the team, and it was quite big at the time because Sir Alex had got rid of Mark Hughes, Andrei Kanchelskis, and Paul Ince, and then sort of every player got thrust into the first team, and to win the double that year with all the young players in the team was special because we weren't just teammates, we were friends, and we're friends to this day. So you don't often get that where you're playing football for the biggest team in the world and with your mates.
Mm.
Mm. So do you think you would have developed the same way if it had been someone other than Sir Alex?
Probably not, no, because especially in this atmosphere, the way it is football at the moment, where not a lot of managers get time. He had time to sort of put young players into the team, knowing that that's going to be the future. He's going to need them in 2 or 3 years' time. But he'd always believed in youth, even when he was at Aberdeen. So he was a different sort of manager in that respect, where he wasn't afraid to put young players in, no matter how old they were, no matter who he was leaving out. He had that obviously character and strong belief that it didn't matter who you were. If a 17, 18-year-old is playing better than you, then you're out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. Not only did Alan Hansen galvanise you guys, I think that year, with his comments, of course, infamous comments, but I also think that our Arsenal galvanised you guys, and our rivalry really peaked in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. We wrestled the title away from you in 98 and we won the double. Did you think that the rivalry was going to become so intense, Ryan? Did you see that coming? And did Sir Alex Ferguson prepare you guys for that? Talk us through that a little bit.
I don't think, a lot of it was made of Wenger and Ferguson, the rivalry. We didn't need that as players because I knew what I was up against. I knew that I was up against, for me personally, I knew I was up against the top back four and obviously David Seaman. I knew that I was coming up against Lee Dixon, who was one of the toughest players that I've ever met. Then Lauren, tough players to play against. So, and then you could go into midfield. Scholesy knew he was against Vieira. Keane knew he was against Petit. It didn't need building up because you knew, just like you go into the Champions League, you knew you had to up your game because you're coming up against better players. And not only, I always said the Arsenal team of the late 90s are the toughest team that I've come up against in the Premier League because they were so similar to us. They could out-football you, they could out-fight you, and the desire was there. They were seen as like proper men, and they were proper football games, whether it be at Old Trafford or whether it be at Highbury. And you knew you had to perform, you knew you had to turn up when you were playing against that Arsenal team. So even though a lot was made of, the rivalry between the two managers, and we didn't need that because we knew that we had to up our game, and we knew we had to both fight to win the game and to play proper football to win the game.
So, Ryan, you just mentioned Dixon and Lauren. And who was the hardest Arsenal defender then you've ever played against?
Well, I would say Lee Dixon, because I didn't particularly like playing at Highbury, because it's not exactly a winger's paradise for me. It was a tight ground. There wasn't a lot of space.
We loved it. We miss it.
I miss that place so much.
Yeah.
I don't.
I've seen you play there many times, Ryan, many times.
The only time I liked playing at Highbury was the evening games, because when we played in the afternoon, it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it always seemed to be sunny and the pitch was dry and it was horrible, it was sticky, and I just hated it. When it was an evening game, the atmosphere was brilliant. It was a little bit more slicker. What I preferred, where you could sort of unbalance players and they'd be slipping everywhere. Whereas when it was dry and it was sunny, like it is always in London and it never is up here, but you just felt it was that much tougher. So I didn't particularly enjoy playing at Highbury, and particularly didn't enjoy playing against Lee Dixon. And also you had Ray Parlour doubling up as well. So you had someone who knew that he was always going to be working hard, doubling up on you, and it made it difficult for you.
Absolutely love Ray Parlour. Love him.
I'm glad you said the weather's crap up there and not us, because we'd have got caned for it. Let's move on to the treble season. Now, do you think that us doing the double the previous year spurred you on to go one better?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. We had to up our game because, like I say, that fantastic Arsenal team, and you hunted us down that year before. And when you get a season like that, you don't want it to happen again. So you can't wait for the next season to start, and you realise that, you've got a team who are on a par with you, and you need to be better than you was the season before, and we definitely realise that.
Hello, this is Arsene Wenger, and you are listening to Highbury and Heels.
There's a lot of people that we also kind of collaborate out there with. We share a lot of banter with Manchester United bloggers too. And there's a young fella who's in Ireland. His name's Dale O'Donnell, Ryan, and he started a blog called Stretty News when he was 15 years old. He's now 22 and he does a lot of great things for a lot of different outlets. And you are one of his ultimate heroes, and the treble season is something that he reveres. So what he wanted to ask you was, can you talk us through as much as you can without it going on all night, because we would love to hear it. That night at the Nou Camp, he wants to know who was the last one to go to bed, and can you give him a little bit of an anecdote, maybe something that we haven't heard before, or just something from the night is what Dale would love to hear.
Oh, he doesn't want the game then, does he? He wants the after party.
He wants the juice. Dale wants the juice.
We all do.
Well, first of all, it wasn't until because obviously over in Spain, I think it was a couple of hours difference at the time, so we weren't getting away from the stadium until 2 o'clock. So then we weren't getting to the hotel and start partying until 3:30, which is always dangerous when you're playing catch up. But the worst thing is that every drink I ordered, I know for a fact, and the majority of my teammates were trebles. So we'd have treble Jack Daniels. So that was my drink at the time. Everyone was at the bar. Do you want a treble? Yeah, I'll have a treble. Yeah. Do you want a treble? And we milked it as much as we could. So after about 5 or 6 treble Jack Daniels, and trying to catch up with everyone else who'd been at the party 2 or 3 hours, we were a bit worse for wear. So I think I went to sleep at 8 o'clock, and I think the coach was leaving at 10, and which I actually missed. I didn't miss it. I was late. So even though we just won the treble, when I got on the coach, I got the look that I've had many times off Sir Alex, who was sat at the front of the coach. Yeah.
So is tardiness one of your foibles? It's one of the things I absolutely hate.
I can't imagine Sir Alex was happy about it.
No, I'm never late, but I was late. That that day. I think it was the kit man who was knocking me up. I was still in bed. You know what it's like? You go to sleep about 8 o'clock and I'll just rest my eyes for an hour. It doesn't happen, does it? You know. So I was late, and then I had the most horrendous hangover. Back on the plane.
I think you earned it.
And then we had to do it all over again with the parade around Manchester. But no, it was the best night I've ever had.
Excellent. I'm sure Dale will enjoy that answer. Thanks a lot for sending it in, Dale. So we go from one legendary night to another. Now, Amanda, just calm down here. I'm going to bring it up. I have to bring it up. Right. As soon as that legend we love, Dennis Bergkamp, missed the penalty in the FA Cup semi-final, we all knew you guys would probably go on and win this game. Sophia was saying the other day that had that gone in, you don't do the treble, which, you forget about those things. At what point of passing so many Arsenal players, crikey, let's tick them off, did you know that whatever you did next, Ryan, the ball was going to go in the back of the net?
I think every best moment I had in a football pitch was pure instinct. So when you actually are in the midst of doing something, you don't sort of think, I'm going to beat this man, I'm going to put it in the top corner, I'm going to do this. You just do it. And that's exactly what happened that night. It was just purely instinctive. And it wasn't until I looked back at the goal, I think that night on the news or something, that I realised that I'd beat so many players and I was that far out. So it was a blur to me, to be honest, and it was just purely instinctive. So it's really difficult to say, did you mean to do this? Did you mean to do that?
Did you mean to drag your shirt off and swirl it around your head?
There's the follow-up question.
Yeah.
Right there. Hey, come on.
I would like to say I regret it, but I don't actually. I was just, you lose yourself, don't you? And I'm just, people talk about the celebration just as much as the goal, but no, I don't wish taking my shirt off. I wish maybe I'd shaved my chest a little bit.
Ryan, we couldn't really have you on without talking about the Battle of Old Trafford in 2003-2004.
Yep.
So, first things first, did you see the Vieira incident, and do you think he deserved to get sent off?
Which one? We had so many fights with Arsenal. Which one's it? The one at Old Trafford?
Yes.
The one where Keown jumped in front of
Ruud van Nistelrooy, everything. It all kicked off.
I got fined in that game. I got fined £7,500 for that
doing
game.
what?
Why? What did you do?
Me and Cristiano, we got. It was the only time
Cristiano.
I know the two hitmen. Listen, me and Cristiano, the two hard men, we were the only ones who got fined. I think Lauren got fined actually.
Yeah, he did.
In the fight afterwards, I think I got to kick Lauren, and I think Cristiano pushes someone. So yeah, we got.
Oh my God!
We got hold of
Lauren. You kicked Lauren. Well,
it was due one. He kicked me enough times.
I love Lauren.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah,
you kicked someone and got fined.
Okay, back to Vieira. Do you think Vieira should have gone?
What did he get sent off for? I can't even remember.
Well, exactly.
That's the point.
Exactly. He just got sent off because he's Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, he deserved to get sent off then.
Yeah,
Ryan. All right then. So basically, our whole team, pretty much, we did gang up on Ruud that day, but he asked for it, right, girls? I mean, Van Nistelrooy totally asked for it. So when you're in that moment, and I think it's hilarious that you and Cristiano were the two players that got fined, but in that moment sometimes, Ryan, and in those games, do you wish like you're more a couple of blokes taking outside the pub? You must just want to deck someone. And like you were talking about Pogba earlier on in the interview, you've got to be able to hold your shit together. But did you want to just deck our players and take it outside?
Not players. I just wanted to deck Lauren.
Leave Lauren alone.
Exactly
No, he kicked me for like 2 or 3 seasons. So I thought, right, this is the time I'm getting my own back on him. No, I think you you know what it's like. I mean, you see it now. The build up for games is like, it starts on the Sunday for the following Sunday. The build up is massive. So and players aren't immune to that. So back in them days, the United Arsenal games, the build up was a week long. It was maybe even longer. So every day you were seeing clips from old games. You were seeing previous players building it up. Sky building it up. So when it actually comes to the game and something kicks off, we are human. We can let the emotions get the better of us.
Yeah.
And when you're up against a team, like I said, who's similar to you in so many ways, you have to stand up for yourself, rightly or wrongly. So, you have to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for your teammates. And that's what I was doing at that time. I thought Ruud was poorly treated, and we were all standing up. We were all standing up for him as a team, which you would expect. The fans would expect from your team. So it often got too feisty. I mean, it often got too much against Arsenal. But that's football. That's why fans love it.
You loved it too. Don't even pretend you didn't.
No, you do. It is very hard to hold on to your emotions. And I'm usually quite a chilled person, but in them Arsenal games, it did get built up as this huge rivalry, this huge fight, this huge game where you had to be, up for it, or you'd get beat.
As a fan, I'm going to be speaking from a fan's point of view. We are sitting watching City play, and we're hoping for them to lose so they don't go unbeaten. But as a player, as the season went on, did you think that we would go unbeaten? And were you, Sir Alex, or any of the United team praying for someone to beat us, or did you even care about it?
No, I hope you got beat. But no, I didn't think that, because it's so difficult. I didn't think that you would go unbeaten. I mean, I know there was a lot of draws in there, but it's an unbelievable achievement, because it is such a tough league, and you just need one decision to go in each year, one team just to turn up with an inspired performance. So it was an unbelievable achievement, and it sums it up in that game really. Ruud never missed a penalty for United up until that point. 9 times out of 10 he scored penalties, so that was that little bit of luck, and which you need.
So we go unbeaten, and then later that year, our unbeaten streak ended, and it was on my birthday, so it ruined my week and my day. What do you remember of the game? And more importantly, what happened in the tunnel? Did you see Cesc throw the pizza? What was Sir Alex's reaction?
Waste the pizza.
This is great. And was it cheese and tomato?
Yeah.
No, there was no way we weren't going to win that game. There was no way that, at Old Trafford, after what had happened the year before, we were going to, I mean, in my eyes, we were going to win that game. And, Sir Alex built it up. This is the chance to stop them doing something special. And you don't really need extra motivation for Man United Arsenal, but that was the extra motivation that we had. But in my eyes, there was no way that we were getting beat in that game. And we didn't want Arsenal to go on and have, 50 wins? Was it 50 games unbeaten? Is that what it was?
It would have been if Rooney wouldn't have dived.
It ended at 49.
So what happened in the tunnel? Yeah, I mean, that wasn't unusual for an Arsenal United for it to spill onto the tunnel. And it was really tight, and there was food flying everywhere. I think I was next to Sol, actually. I think. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there.
You weren't kicking Lauren again, were you?
No. I think I was asking Sol, where's Lauren?
Lauren.
Send Lauren an email and let him know about all this.
Yeah. No.
So, go on.
Yeah, once we got back in the dressing room, it wasn't really about the pizzas flying everywhere. It was just about celebrating.
Okay, so
sorry to be boring.
That's all right. We thought you'd be able to give us some more inside info, but if that's what you want to just keep to yourself, that's fine by us. We'll take it. Anyway, we've got another question from social media, and it comes from @Fergie1975 on Twitter. Don't worry, he's not related to the big man, but they share the same surname. Here we go.
Hi Ryan, it's Alex Ferguson from London. I'm a lifelong United fan. My question to you is, what is your all-time United 11?
Did you hear that?
I did, yeah. I hate this question.
It's a tough one.
I hate it. It's impossible. Okay, right. Okay.
Start at the back.
Pardon?
Start at the back and go forward.
Start at the back, right. This is a team that, if you ask me the same question tomorrow, could be different.
Right.
Okay, so I'll Schmeichel in goal, Neville right back, Dennis Irwin left back, Stam, Ferdinand. I don't know how I can leave Vidic out, but I've left him out.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not going to play myself because that makes it much easier. Beckham on the right, Keane, Scholes, Ronaldo on the left, Rooney. This is the tough one. Rooney, Cantona.
Has to be Cantona, doesn't it?
Crap team.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
We beat them every week.
Anyone, are they? Oh, crikey.
Well,
I should have put Van Persie in there, shouldn't I?
Oh,
No,
God, no. Hell no.
Hi, Ryan. Nice chatting.
Just when I was getting to like him just a little bit.
Yeah, no. Gone right down now.
Crikey.
Terrible. Well, listen, Ryan, you've had such a decorated club career. Was there any disappointment with the international career in terms of World Cups and Euros? Do you feel like because you achieved and won so much with United that it's substituted for not going to the World Cup?
Yeah, it was. My career with my country was completely different from obviously with my career with my club. My first few years, we were actually a really good team. I mean, a brilliant team. We had Neville Southall, Kevin Ratcliffe, Ian Rush, Mark Hughes, Dean Saunders, Gary Speed. We had a brilliant team, and we just missed out on the World Cup in America in '94, where if we'd have beat Romania, we would have gone to the World Cup, and things might have been different then in the next few years. But then after that, all them players retired. It was a sort of rebuilding, and I just didn't enjoy particularly playing for my country because the facilities weren't great, the organisation weren't great. It was chopping and changing of managers. It was the players weren't as good as obviously that I played with for my club, and it was a real frustrating time for me. And it wasn't really until Mark Hughes took over that things started to change, and we started getting a little bit more professional, better players coming in. And we had another chance of reaching the Euros, which we just missed out in a playoff against Russia. So there was only 2 occasions where we really were close to qualifying in the major championships. But other than them 2 occasions, it wasn't something that I look back upon fondly. But I mean, I always loved playing for my country. It was great. We had the odd great game against Italy at the Millennium, where it was full and we beat an Italy team, and towards the end I probably enjoyed it a lot more than any other time when I was captain and I was playing under John Toshak, Mark Hughes just before that. But yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult playing for Wales because of the reasons that I just give, and the complete opposite of playing for the club.
I mean, you do have a really good team now as well. Still something missing there, but we took it to social media to ask a few more questions because at the end of the day, everyone wants to get their chance to ask you something, seeing as you are Ryan Giggs. So we have a question from Facebook from someone in Lebanon called Mustafa Mashzoub, who's a Barcelona fan. He says, has the mega TV deals helped or hindered teams? Do you think that young English players not getting the chance to play for big clubs is a factor in English football's lack of advancement?
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly the money. I think it's just the climate of not giving managers enough time. So, I touched on it before that Sir Alex Ferguson could trust young players knowing that, okay, if they don't, perform straight away that the experience in a year, 2 years' time will be huge, and they will be big. The young players will be big players for the management, for the club. Now, the average shelf life of a manager is a year tops, 9 months. Mm. So, can you afford to put a young player in who's producing good performances in the youth team or in the reserves, and when your job is at stake, can you put your trust in young players? Now, of course, it depends on the philosophy of the manager, but it's very difficult nowadays to trust or to give the trust for young players when you haven't got much time as a manager. But yeah, it's definitely a problem. I mean, it is definitely a problem because you never know what a young. So take Marcus Rashford for example. He was substitute in a Europa League Cup game. Martial gets injured in the warm-up, and Marcus plays. And it's them little bit of luck. Now, he had a little bit of luck in that respect, because who knows if Anthony would have played that game and Rashford wouldn't have played, he might not be anywhere near the first team that season. So no one knows what he was capable of. But then once you put him in, then it's up to the individual to take his chance, which of course he did.
Yeah, we were talking about luck being a big thing on our pod last week, and the fact that you've just said that just emphasises what we believe, that sometimes things just, if you need to take your chance when it comes, because it may never come again, Ben.
Yeah, I had it. When I come into the first team, Lee Sharp, who was at the time Young Players Player of the Year, he was an England international, got injured. He had a hernia operation. He had a few complications with a hernia, and what should have been 8 or 9 weeks ended up being nearly a year he was out. So, and I got my chance and I took it. So yeah, you have to take your chance, but also players aren't, because the problem is when you're 17, 18 and you're playing well in the youth team, the reserves, you're more or less ready, because sometimes it can actually be easier in the first team because you're playing with better players. You get more opportunities. Okay, you're playing against better players, but you're playing with better players. So sometimes it can be easier. Now, say you don't get that chance. By the time it comes to 19, 20, you've not really developed because you're playing against players and with players, and it's not really, and they're the same as you more or less, but you're not really pushing yourself. So then you can, you see it all the time, players just going on loan, playing too long in the reserves. And actually, if they'd have been given that chance when they were 17, 18, it would have given that lift to go on to the next level.
Do you think that staying at a club is a better idea? Because I'm thinking about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He decided that he would rather take a pay cut and go to Liverpool than stay with Arsenal. What if you were talking to a player today, would you advise them to, if they were not starting for their club after how many years, would you advise them to leave and go elsewhere, or do you think it's better to stay at the big club and try and force your way in?
You need to play. Without a shadow of a doubt, you need to play, because coming in and out of a team, you can't get any rhythm, you can't get any confidence. So you need to play week in, week out. Now, I have a little bit of sympathy for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think he didn't fulfil his potential, but I've got a little bit of sympathy because he got messed around a little bit with his positions. I think he did play a lot of different positions. Now, you could say that's up to him once he plays centre midfield. If he wants to play centre midfield, he's got to nail that down. But he played right wing, he played right wing back at the end, he played midfield, he played left wing back, I think, at times. So I feel a little bit sorry for him in that respect. But also, when you do get your chance, like we just talked about, you need to take it and just say, right, give the manager a real difficult decision to drop you because you're playing so well.
So, Ryan, you were at Manchester United for your entire career, and, some would say that when you join a club like that, why would you leave? Did that ever bug you, the whole will he leave, won't he leave? The same thing with Messi. Messi just signed a new contract with Barcelona. Looks like he's going to play his entire career there. Did you ever think about leaving? But you didn't have to, really, because you were at Man United?
No, I think it's really difficult to leave a club when it's your club, for a start, when you've supported them, and also when you're at a top club, because every season's a challenge. Every season, you're not getting bored. You're not getting in the same sort of, not one season was the same with United, even though I was there so long. And probably Messi feels the same. It's like Maldini. When you're at Barcelona, Milan, Man United, where are you going to go after that? If it's your team, if you grew up coming through the ranks, where are you going to go at 30, 31, 32? You're not going to go to a better club. You're not going to go to a team that is going to challenge you as much as you're getting challenged at the time. So that's what I always felt. And, even at 35, where, some people might say, you could have gone to America or you could have gone here or there. I was playing in a Champions League final when I was 35, 36. Mm-hmm. So why would you leave? I was still playing.
Yeah, but I think your situation is a bit different to some, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, maybe so, but I just always felt that there was a challenge at the beginning of the season, and that's what you want as a player.
We haven't had a player that has stayed for such a long time at Arsenal in a while. But to take it back to the Twitter questions and social media, we have someone on Twitter called MZACT7, and he asks, what do you think needs changing at Arsenal? Is Arsenal's fall from grace down to the players, manager, board, or all three?
I think it is all three, because you have to recruit, right? You have to, like I said early on in the conversation, Arsenal always have fantastic attacking players because that's the philosophy of the manager. He thinks that he can outplay every team that he plays against, but you need defenders as well. You can't say that was Arsene Wenger's fault when Koscielny tries to wrestle Pogba where he's going nowhere for the third goal. No, you can't. Everyone said brilliant by Pogba. I was just like, what is Koscielny trying to do there?
I think we all were.
So that's not the board's fault. That's not Arsene Wenger's fault. That's the players' fault. It's ridiculous defending. And so, to answer the question, I think it's all three. You need to back the manager and try and compete with the rest of the teams around you as best you can. And when you do get the backing, you need to bring in the right players.
During your playing career, out of all the Arsenal players you played against, and you played against loads, what one would you have wanted alongside you at the Theatre Dreams? Just one.
Okay. I would go for...
Laurent! It's got to be Laurent!
I'd go for Vieira.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were going to choose Bergkamp.
Why Vieira? Why Vieira?
Well, he always passed to me. That's why I
Oh! You know what? I bloody fell for that, didn't I? Yeah, anyway, moving on swiftly.
Oh, my God. So,
Vieira, really interestingly, it wouldn't have been Bergkamp, Henry... Any of those?
No, I'd go for Vieira. I thought he was a brilliant player.
He was superb.
I loved him. If only we had a captain like that today, I think we'd be such a different team.
Yeah.
But in all your years as a footballer, what would you say is your most memorable moment, and is there anything you regret?
Most memorable moment was when the final whistle went in the new camp.
Right.
Even though I didn't play well, the team didn't play well. That's the most memorable moment. That's the only time that I've cried on a football pitch because the emotions got the best of me.
Wow.
So that's my best moment. Anything that I regret? No, not really, because you make mistakes. You miss chances. I missed an open goal against Arsenal at Old Trafford. I missed penalties early on in my career. But there's nothing you regret, really. I think, they're just mistakes and things that can happen. It's how you come back from them.
Ryan, you're a hero to a lot of people out there in the universe from all corners of the earth. You've helped them create unforgettable memories as United fans, football fans as well. When people meet you, they melt. So there must be a sports person or someone in the public domain that you've met that has made you melt. Who is that?
I don't know if there is, actually. I mean, I'm a big sports fan, so when I do meet people who I sort of looked up to and I respect, I think it was probably early on in my career, it was Brian Robson, because when we were at the Cliff, I was only 14, 15, and you share the same canteen, and going into that canteen and seeing the likes of Brian Robson, not only in the same room, but actually coming over and talking to you, because that's what he used to do. That had a massive effect on me, that someone like that could take time out to talk to a group of 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and even later when I played with him, he was always helping you, always encouraging you. And he was someone who, I had his poster on my wall. I had the United team on my wall. He was the England captain, Man United captain, and he had a huge effect on me. So I would say Brian Robson.
That's a good one. Not a bad choice at all. We talk about careers and stuff, and we all transition in our careers. You go from playing to then managing and in the media and stuff. There've been a couple of times in my career where I've been overlooked for a promotion and have been bitterly disappointed about it. And is that how you felt when United appointed Mourinho? Did you feel somewhat disappointed?
Yeah, I was disappointed because, first of all, Louis, I mean, nothing was said, but Louis was going to do the 3 years, and then I see myself as, if Louis didn't go on, then I would be perfect to sort of carry on, because I'd done all my coaching badges, I'd done my pro license while I was still playing, so I prepared myself as best I can. And then 2 years coaching under Louis, knowing the players, the continuity could have been there and could have worked. But I also see the other side where some people felt that it was such a fall from grace that we needed experience. We needed someone who was a proven winner, and we needed someone who could get United back up to the top quickly. So I could see both sides of the argument. But obviously, for me personally, I felt that I was ready. There was no way I was ready before Louis. After David Moyes, I was glad to take it for them few games, but I didn't really feel ready after that. But then after I'd spent 2 years coaching the team, training the team every day on the pitch, learning from Louis, obviously getting to know the players from a coaching side, that I was prepared to, and I was ready to take the team onto that next level.
So going from player to manager, there are a lot of managers who've never played professionally, and young players right now like Jack Wilshere who are already doing their coaching badges. Do you think you inspired this? And do you think certificates and coaching badges is enough or does it take more like character for someone to be successful as a manager?
I think it's like your driving license. The way the coaching badges are, it's all about organisation. It's all about structure, and it helps you, but you can't be experienced. I did. It adds up to about 6 or 7 years of my B license, A license, pro license, but that 3 weeks that I had managing United beats all of that. Beats all the coaching licenses, because you're actually in the seat, you're actually having to make decisions, you're under pressure. So you can't beat experience, but obviously you have to prepare yourself as best you can. And at the end of the day, really, you don't know how you're going to be. You don't know how you're going to handle pressure. You don't know when you've got to make substitutions quickly, when you've got to think when you pick a team and on the morning of the game, your centre forward is injured or he's got a cold. Until you get actually in the seat and you get that experience, you don't know how you're going to react.
Mm-hmm. So we have another question that kind of leads into a little bit of what we're talking about now, from a Manchester United fan in Barcelona. Lots of Man United fans in Barcelona, people.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Hi Ryan, Nikesh here from Barcelona. Huge Man United fan, so thank you for all the wonderful memories. My question for you is, other than Man United, if you could manage any team in Europe, who would it be and why?
Great question.
Oh, didn't see that coming. Who would I manage? I think it'd have to be one of the top teams, obviously, because the more good players you have, the easier it is. So I would say Real Madrid.
I thought you were going to say, actually, Nikesh from Barcelona thought you were going to say AC Milan.
No, I would say Real Madrid.
Why Real?
Just, they always have good players. They always have players that, I mean, I could have said Barcelona, but I'll go with Real Madrid because they've got players who can just turn a game in a second.
And you wouldn't say Barcelona do?
Yeah, Barcelona do, yeah. Barcelona do.
Are you just picking Real because your old mate Bex went there? Is that what it's about?
Yeah.
And Cristiano's there.
Gareth's there. So yeah.
I know how you
Barcelona
think.
beat us twice in the Champions League final.
Oh, there we
so
go.
I'm not going there. Yeah,
Actually,
I'm not bitter.
I think you're lying, Ryan. I think it's Salford City you want to go with your mates, don't you?
No, they're doing okay on their own at the moment.
You're currently a pundit for ITV, yeah?
Yeah.
So, how have you found the transition from playing to talking about the game? Is it easier or harder than you expected?
No, it's good. I enjoy it. I mean, especially with ITV because I'm with Lee Dixon and Ian Wright, and instantly I just, even though I knew them pretty well, especially Wrighty, until you get to work with them, I feel that there's a good chemistry between the three of us. So that makes it. And obviously Mark Pugash, it just feels good. It feels right. It feels like we've got the real good.
The balance, right, yeah.
Yeah, real good balance.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, the balance you lot have. It's really good.
And I think in my short career with TV, that is something that's really important because I've done stuff with other channels. I haven't really felt that sort of connection with the pundits who I'm on with. So, no, I've really enjoyed it.
We enjoy having you there, Ryan. I'll be honest. That's all right.
Thank
Even if you are a Man U legend and you scored that goal against us, and etc. I'm never going to forget that. As much
you broke
as I like
my heart.
He broke a lot of hearts.
I drowned my sorrows in a North London pub that night, but anyway.
So we're going to have a little fun here with a quick fire round, Ryan. No pausing, no stumbling, just race through the questions like you raced through our team in 1999. Okay. Sophie, are you ready with the cowbell? Okay, Ryan. Guilty pleasure.
Chocolate.
Last film you saw and did you enjoy it?
Last film I saw. I'm more of a TV program. Peaky Blinders I'm watching at the moment. I did enjoy it. I can't think of a film. Okay, the Planet of the Apes one. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw that. It was good.
Right, Mourinho or Wenger as your manager if you were playing today?
Mourinho.
You can only save one, Phil or Gary Neville. Who are you saving?
Gary.
Oh my Gary!
Your karaoke song.
Your karaoke
song. Tom Jones, Green Green Grass of Home.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Your go-to cheer-up movie.
My go-to
cheer-up movie.
The Holiday.
Oh yeah,
I love that film.
It's lovely. Okay, red sauce, brown sauce, or neither?
Brown.
Okay, tell us something you think listeners will find very surprising about you. Closet gooner?
I'm a very good dancer.
Oh.
So will we see you on Strictly?
No, I have to be drunk.
Oh. Okay. Federer or Nadal?
Federer.
Ever been asked to go on I'm a Celebrity? If so, how many times?
No.
Ooh, really? I thought you would have been. Okay, what's your biggest phobia? Lauren.
Rodents.
Oh.
Okay. Do you have hidden talents?
Yes.
Elaborate.
Enlighten.
I can do accents.
Ah.
Oh.
Prove
Okay.
it.
You're going to have to hear one of those. Come on.
Prove it.
Give us
No.
one.
Name an accent.
Scouse.
You've got to, yeah,
Scouse.
got to be.
Scouse.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, mate?
Prosecco.
Actually, my Scottish is my best one because I obviously I worked under Sir Alex for so long.
That's so good. That's so good. Can you do an American accent?
I can. No, I can't. My daughter's better than me. American and Australian.
All right.
I can sort of do New York where you see coffee.
Was that?
I don't know. Not very good.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Do you
All
watch?
right. So
Do you watch Game of Thrones? And which Premier League team represents the Lannisters to you?
I do watch Game of Thrones and the Lannisters. Okay. Chelsea.
That's what Sophie said. Sophie said.
I don't watch it, so I haven't got a clue what you're
Oh,
talking
it's
about.
brilliant. Sophie
Brilliant.
said that's what you'd say. Brilliant.
Yep.
Tea
love
or
it.
coffee?
Coffee.
Anywhere in the world you haven't been but would like to visit, and why?
New Zealand.
Why?
Why? Because my mate went when the Lions were playing, and he come back with loads of videos. It looked amazing, and he played loads of unbelievable golf courses. So that's why.
Okay, the treble or the unbeaten season?
What?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What? What would I prefer to do?
Yeah.
Treble.
Okay.
Oh. Right. Who are you taking with you in a fight? The Rock or Kolasinac?
The Rock.
All right. Okay. Maradona or Pele?
Maradona.
Something you'd like to do but are too scared to do it?
Bungee jump.
Which teammate gave the best Christmas presents?
Which
Gotta be
teammate
Beckham.
give the
Gotta be
best
Beckham.
Christmas? No, I never really got Christmas presents actually.
Oh.
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Birthdays or Christmas?
Christmas.
And do you like prawn sandwiches?
Woohoo!
Yes, I do actually. Yeah.
So thank you so much for that, Ryan. We're going to put you out of your misery and let you go. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope it wasn't too painful. Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah. I wish all the interviews were this much fun.
Oh, bless
Aw.
you. And does that mean that you'll come on again in the future?
No, it doesn't now.
Now you can go and tell all your friends that we really are nice.
So we'll say goodbye to Ryan.
anytime.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay.
Say goodbye to Ryan, ladies.
Bye.
Goodbye, Ryan.
Bye, Giggsy.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
I've always wanted to say that. Bye, Giggsy.
Essex, Dubai, LA.
Right, so Ryan has left the building, and that just leaves us time for predictions. We're playing Bate Borisov at home and Southampton away. What are you girls going for?
For Bate Borisov, I will say 1-0 for us. And Southampton, I say we have to have a good comeback and have 3-0.
I think we'll batter Bate and we'll beat Southampton 2-1.
I think we'll lose to Bate Borisov, to be honest. I know it sounds funny. I think our head's not in it anymore. Maybe not lose. Maybe 1-0. I'll go 1-0. I'm allowed to change. Southampton away, a draw. I don't fancy us there, I'm afraid. I would say 2-0.
Oh my God, Amanda, it's like you're reading my mind.
Oh, it's like a sister from another mister.
Hello, sailors.
I do think we'll still beat Bate. They're not that great. I think we'll win 2-0. And Southampton, I've also gone for a 2-2 draw. How freaky is that?
Freaky
You
fruit.
twinsies, eh? You
I
little
know.
twinsies.
Well, we need to do something after the debacle that was on Saturday. But anyway, so those are our predictions. That's the end of this week's pod. I just want to say thanks again to Ryan for being a great sport and putting up with us. If you have any comments or questions, want to see what we're up to, or just want to put faces to the voices, where can the listeners find us, Seema?
You can follow us on Twitter on Highbury Heels and on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram on Highbury and Heels.
And finally, if you like what you're hearing, please give us a rating and a review on iTunes, YouTube and SoundCloud. It really does help us. So that's it for this week. We're out of here, but what else are we, Amanda?
We're always Arsenal.
Hi, I'm Ryan Giggs, and you're listening to Highbury and Heels.
Oh,